Well, the New York Times, America's most trusted name in news, just dropped a new piece about Epstein's lair, a look inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan lair. And this is normal. Look at this on your screen. When you walk into the atrium of his house, there's a bride, like this bride on a rope, rappelling down. Would you allow me to put this in our house?
No,
Like when you
I
walk
don't
in the
think
house?
so. But if you watched the Daryl Cooper interview with Tucker Carlson, they talked very much about how these societies really had a thing for either recently pubescent or post-pubescent children because it symbolizes breaking down innocence. It symbolizes you exerting your power and breaking someone else's innocence. Now, if we could just look at that picture again, that comports, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, it's going to get worse than this, by the way. It's going to get worse. I mean, you have a bride on a string in Epstein's lair. But then inside the massive room, you have the rooms, the gathering areas, yes, all the cameras that are watching every movement throughout the mansion, piles of photos everywhere, which is not terribly odd, except obviously who's in the photos. You have the Clintons, you have the Pope. You have
Richard Branson's there in the back.
You have there's Steve Bannon up there at the top. You have Elon Musk in some of the photos. You have Ghislaine Maxwell, of course. You have a whole host of individuals in there. I didn't see Donald Trump in any of those particular photos. Do I? Where?
Look at that. Right.
Oh, right there on the front. Oh, there it is. Okay, there was a
Melania.
glare. There was a glare there, and Melania right there. So everyone's there, all of them in this photo. He also, this is creepy, has a first edition, green edition of Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita book. You know, the novel about an adult who repeatedly rapes a 12-year-old girl. Yeah, he just has that just sitting out there in the open in his house next to a giant stuffed tiger, which is totally normal. In his bedrooms, they were filled with lubricant, just like the Diddy parties. Cameras in almost every corner of the room. If you notice in this photo here in the upper right-hand corner, photos there. You can see the cameras capturing everything in all of these different bedrooms. Meanwhile, subpoenas just dropped. Many powerful politicians from both parties subpoenaed by the House Oversight Committee to testify about their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, including Bill and Hillary Clinton on this list. Also subpoenaed on this list, Alberto Gonzalez, Attorney General under George W. Bush. Here it is. Here's the full list. You can see former FBI Director James Comey, Robert Mueller, former Attorney General Eric Holder, Loretta Lynch, Merrick Garland. Each of these officials likely had access to Epstein-related intelligence or played a role, giving him a pass at the time. On top of that, newly revealed FBI documents reveal that Epstein's 2008 plea deal included a provision for him to provide information to the FBI as agreed upon. What does that mean? What was that information? What exactly does that mean? It remains classified. Well, I thought we were promised transparency. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino. Like, when are we going to see this information, Pam Bondi? There's no one I'd rather talk to about all of this than good friend of the show, Judge Andrew Napolitano, host of Judging Freedom, and our good friend who can make sense of these subpoenas. Will any of these people actually talk? Who knows? Judge, great to see you. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Oh, guys, it's a pleasure to be on with both of you. Thank you very much. And Natalie and I are going to be together next week without you. Did you know that?
Apparently, I heard about this. You'll be at the Ron Paul Institute giving a speech together. Is that right?
500 people there. We're actually doing a Judging Freedom from there on the dais with the regulars who will be accompanying Natalie as a speaker. But I'm staying until the end because I want to hear what Natalie has to say.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, just to be clear, Clayton was invited too, and we decided we would flip-flop. So Clayton will go to the next one because we still have 3 kids.
Yeah, someone's got to hold down the fort, as it were.
These are
next time,
great gatherings of serious small government, maximum individual liberty, pro-peace people, as you'd expect at a Ron Paul gathering.
Well, I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to watch it and listen in as well. So speaking of government transparency and getting to the bottom of matters, you saw all these subpoenas drop, Judge, for all of these different high-ranking members, formerly Clinton administration officials and Biden administration officials, a whole laundry list of individuals. What do these subpoenas actually do, and will they have any teeth at all?
Well, the subpoenas to the human beings, which are to the last 6 attorneys general of the United States, at least those that were confirmed by the Senate, going back to Alberto Gonzalez under President George W. Bush, ask for testimony. They don't ask for documents. Now, we don't know what the precise questions will be. We don't know if the committee will have the Epstein file before they begin these interrogations. The first interrogation is of former Attorney General Bill Barr, who was the Attorney General of the United States at the time that Epstein was indicted, arrested, and then died in his jail cell. The main subpoena that has interested all of us is the one to the Justice Department, which commands the full file with only the names of victims redacted. Now, this has to be causing the White House and Attorney General Bondi serious headaches, because she has said there's material in there, she hasn't said what it is, that will never see the light of day. Question, can Congress get whatever it wants? Short answer, yes. Longer answer, when the Democratic Congress subpoenaed from the IRS the tax returns of Mr. Donald Trump in the years before he was president, something in which Congress could have no bona fide interest with respect to public policy, the Supreme Court unanimously ruled they can get it. Congress can subpoena whatever it wants. So can the DOJ not comply with this subpoena? It may try, but it will lose. Can Bill Clinton, who was subpoenaed, assert immunity? Absolutely not. None of what they're going to ask him about had anything to do with his official work as president of the United States. Can he assert executive privilege? Absolutely not. Can he assert the Fifth Amendment, Clayton and Natalie? Could you imagine a former president of the United States of America being asked under oath on international television about his personal behavior on the island of a convicted pedophile and taking the Fifth? Wow.
Well, this is Bill Clinton, though, who we have seen been asked about cigars and blue dresses.
Yeah, but he answered those questions.
We don't have to imagine him being asked about salacious things.
Did he plead the Fifth, though? I don't remember him. When he answered those, he went like, we needed to answer what the definition of is back with Monica Lewinsky, right?
That definition of is line comes from his public interrogation before a grand jury. He did not assert the Fifth. He answered everything. He then pleaded guilty to some very, very minor offense for which there was no significant sentence at all. But he did not plead the Fifth.
Now,
however, the interaction with Monica Lewinsky, as highly inappropriate as it was not criminal. The only crime there would have been if he lied about it. If he had any interaction with underage women, obviously that would be criminal. If he was aware of sexual interaction with underage women and did nothing about it, the failure to do anything is not criminal, but it would be highly damaging to whatever legacy he has remaining if he knew about it and did nothing.
Now, it seems with this subpoena, they're trying to stitch together a thread of attorneys general who would have had access to knowledge for why Epstein was given this sweetheart deal. Is it possible that it never came across the desk of anyone during the Obama years and it was only a Republican president who picked it up again? Or what do you think, for instance, Loretta Lynn and Eric Holder would know? Not that they would tell us the truth, but if they did, what do you think they would know?
I would be surprised if these files came before their eyes. Now, Congressman Comer does not need any advice from me, but if he were to ask me for advice, I would say subpoena Alex Acosta. Alex was the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, covering Palm Beach, where Jeffrey Epstein lived and Donald Trump lives. And I would ask him, you have been reported or reputed to have said that you went easy in the plea negotiations negotiated in Epstein's behalf by Professor Alan Dershowitz, because you were told Epstein was intel. Who told you that? And what did you do to confirm if Epstein was intel? And why did you believe what you were told? Now, these are the questions I would put to former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta and former Secretary of Labor in the first Trump administration, Alex Acosta. As far as we know, he has not yet been subpoenaed.
There's a couple of people notably absent from these subpoenas. Les Wexner, which I can't believe. By the way, they never even talked to him, which is still stunning to me. The DOJ,
Wow.
Former Victoria's Secret CEO, Epstein chief
Who just
benefactor.
bought the Obamas' Martha's Vineyard house. This feels like you can't even make this up. How is he in these circles?
You can't make up. I was just on, this is my home run day. I was just on with the great George Galloway, and George told me on air, on international air, that the Obamas, that Wexler bought the Obamas home. You can't make this up.
No, and then
Recently, like this week.
I guess you could even cover up
who's doing
the
favors
deaths
for
on
whom here.
Yeah, and the deaths on that property, like the chef that suddenly, that's a whole other story. But Ehud Barak also not on this list. Leon Black, Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew.
They have to. This is no criticism of Professor Dershowitz, who is a brilliant criminal defense lawyer, but they have to interrogate him. Look, one of the issues before the Supreme Court of the United States is Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal of her conviction. And the basis for the appeal is that the deal that Dershowitz negotiated for Epstein covered her and was an agreement not to prosecute. Now, that argument was rejected by the trial judge and rejected by an appellate court, but she is asking the Supreme Court to take that up. I would think that Professor Dershowitz would be able to lend a lot of light, shine a lot of light on that.
I want to ask you this before we let you go, Judge, which is the Times of Israel. I can't believe this story. When I saw it, I immediately bookmarked it. I said, the Times of Israel is literally saying that the Epstein files are coming out because basically Trump broke up with Israel. Or it's like, now it's kind of turning his back. First of all, I've seen no evidence that Trump is like turning his back on Israel at all, of course. I mean, I think Bibi was just there like 2 weeks ago, for crying out loud. But anyway, what do you make of this Times of Israel story?
This is the first I've heard of it. And as far as I know, Trump is still giving Israel everything it wants, which allows it to continue its genocide and its genocide by starvation. Trump could stop all of it with a phone call, because without the United States, Israel wouldn't have any rounds at which to shoot and murder innocent Palestinians waiting online for food.
Right.
Now, I do have one more question. So what do you make of the Trump administration making so many empty promises about Epstein and then fumbling this so clearly and then telling us to disbelieve our own eyes? Why do you think that we are being insulted in this way when we were promised transparency?
Natalie, I wish you could ask that question to Dan Bongino, who said that his stomach has been turned, meaning he has a lot of acid in his belly over what he saw in the files and over his inability to say what he saw. I guess it's to protect the president. I mean, why else would they not reveal it? Now, look, how damning could this be of the president? If it were truly damning, you would think the Biden people would have leaked it during the campaign to help Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. So maybe nobody knows what's in there who hasn't seen it. Maybe Trump doesn't know. Maybe this Israeli newspaper report is just the wildest of speculation. I wish I could give you a better answer than that, Natalie, but I don't know.
I would love to think that Dan Bongino, if he saw his idol, Donald Trump, was in here and implicated in that way, that he would have the type of soul that would compel him to quit the FBI and go right back to a radio show and tell all of us what he saw. I think it might be just so messy with so many billionaires and bankers and funders and donors that are all involved, and everyone's hands are so dirty in
This
this.
doesn't answer what defies logic is President Trump would have known. He knows what he did. Somebody knows what he did with Epstein, and that's Trump. So why would he have made these promises and then allowed his people to say things that would end up not holding up in the span of just months, weeks? It just doesn't make any sense. This bad lying.
The MAGA people have put so much pressure on Republicans in Congress. You would think the Democrats would have subpoenaed these files. This is an enormous headache for the DOJ, an enormous headache for the White House, but the Republicans have done it. Why? Because they want to keep their jobs, and they don't want to go back to the voters in 2026 with MAGA furious at them. The real question is, and Natalie, you put your finger on it, why did Trump join this bandwagon if he knew that his name was in there in a less than favorable light?
Yeah. Maybe just in order to get elected, I don't know. And then he could squash it later. I mean, we heard a lot of people making promises, Obama making anti-war promises, and he comes in and becomes one of the leading war criminal presidents of all time. So people make a lot of promises when they're running for office, right, Judge?
They do.
Judge, great to see you.
Thank you.
See Natalie next
I have
week?
my friend Alexander about to come up. I don't know if he can hear us, but give him my best.
Oh, yeah. Alexander Mercurius from the Duran will be joining us here. And Judge, always great to see you. Have fun there with the team and everyone from the Ron Paul Institute. Looking forward to watching that. Thanks,
Thank
Judge.
you. Natalie, see you next week without
See you
your hubby.
soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Party time.
Thanks, Judge.